Hi, thanks for stopping by. Today I finally received my Johanna Basford's Wonderful Wildflowers, her new colouring book. It finally landed in my local store, so I've been able to grab it. I'm a bit excited for this one because I have decided to declare this my watercolour book, either it be using my half pans or the tubes or the Crayolas or the Faber-Castell Albert Durers or whatever, but it is going to be my watercolour Wonderful Wildflowers colouring book. Let's open up to the first page that I'm going to colour. Try and get this as flat as possible. I know watercolouring is going to absolutely destroy this book, but that's what art is all about. Not destroying books, but, you know, just doing what you feel. I might actually work this book just page by page. That works for me. Alright, you need to move out the way. Oh, so I might actually just start with this spiral. Okay, so you can see that I've got my little paintbrush. I don't even know where I got this one from, but it's a nice size in my hand, and it's just got a round bullet nib. It's not a pen, it's a paintbrush, you know what I mean. Round bristles on it. Got my paper to wipe my brush up on, and just an old dinner plate from an old dinner set that we had. And if I'm using my Crayolas, that's what I use to scribble on, and then I can pick it up like a watercolour paint. So more than likely going to be using Crayolas today to paint with. So, oh, and I've got my jar of clean water. And of course, as always, we've got our channel mascot. I think I might call him Clarence. And if you guys know me, I'm an absolute diehard Supernatural fan, so if you understand the reference, then I think I might declare him Clarence.
Hello, Clarence.
So, Clarence, you can sit there and watch me colour on. Alright, I'm going to jump onto Pinterest and see what colour scheme I want to come up with. I'm just going to search in, I don't know, say wildflower colour seeds or something, and let's see what it comes up with. Alright, I've got my motley crew of colours here. My set is going to be labelled way different than what you guys might have in your set, because this is out of the 100 pack where the names aren't labelled or anything for the textures, except this one comes from the 20 pack that I bought, and they obviously were labelled, so that's the only one with the name on it. Orange, pretty obvious. So the rest of them, we've got the, put them down, the darker green, the lighter green, the yellow, obviously the orange, the pink and the purple. So they're all the colours that I've picked for this, courtesy of Pinterest's colour palettes. Alright, let's get into it. first up I'm going to use the lighter of the greens, and I'll probably go through and I'll do all the leaves and everything first. I'm just going to scribble that down onto my plate. I can actually scribble them all onto my plate to start with, because they reactivate super easy even if they're dried out. It's like a bit like gouache, how it just reactivates on your page, and watercolours. So I'll put a bit of that down. Might actually go ahead and put some of the dark green down as well. That's a nice green. If I need to darken these up, then I've certainly got the orange and the pink and the purple to throw in a few shades if I need. Right, that's those two. Let's wet the brush, ready to go. Alright, I'll probably just start there and work my way across if I remember to do so. Sometimes I work across the page and it's just seriously dumb of me. I'm not wetting the page first, I'm just going to start painting it in. I can't even keep him within the lines. I'm not being too precious about it, because I will be going in with the darker colour. I'll make each of these leaves look different by adding certain tones of the other textures. Just like watercolours, you do need to keep your brush a little bit wet. Not soaking wet, you don't want it dripping. Otherwise you just fade out the colour completely. Well, if that's the look you're going for, then obviously do that, but you know. That's a pretty green, isn't it? Alright, I'll pop you into time-lapse and I'll finish off all the rest of the leaves with that one colour. Alright, let's get started on the darker green, which is actually a really nice fresh green looking, well, dark fresh green. And I'm just going to plop that in anywhere, like how Johanna's drawn in some of the veins, or you know, little details and stuff, or where it might naturally create a shadow underneath, up the centre. So I'm just going to go through and do all of that. And I'm sort of dabbing it on. I'm not painting as such, just so I can get a nice thicker coat onto it. See, look at that. Very painterly. Oh, look, I forgot those two leaves. Look, they're going to get the dark colour. That's fine. It's all okay. Okay, alright. Pop you back into time-lapse and I'll do the rest of the spiral with that darker colour. let's start adding some colour to these cutie patootie flowers. These ones look like Christmas trees. These are like ridiculously cute. That's pretty pink. It's not exactly the brightest of pink, like hot pink. It was either that or a magenta, and I didn't want magenta because then it would have been too close to that funky purple. It's nice bright yellow. Looks like it's got orange undertones. And the bright orange. Alrighty. Alright, let's do super cute yellow on the edges of these. Again, I'm just dotting them on. Alright, cute, but make it a little bit watery. Don't dry off your brush too much. Let's do pinks in that bit there. Need to add just some clean water and we'll just blur that line between the two. See? Easy. Alright, cute. I'll let those ones dry before I do the centre, otherwise it'll just continuously bleed out from everything. I'm going to use the purple, which actually when wet goes really pink. Oh well. But really, really watered down. And I'm just going to give it some kind of colour, but not a lot. And they can just sit there and chill out with some colour and let it soak in naturally. And let it do its own thing. How's that? Is that cute? That's cute. Alright, I'm going to grab some purple. Not so wet. Purple, and I might do... I miss more leaves. Really good at this. Purple on the inside. Trying not to put my hand on those ones that are still a little bit wet. What have we got over this side? Okay. Okay. I think these little ones should be cute yellow. Like the, what are they called? Billy? No, I can't remember. And I'm just colouring those leaves while I remember while I'm here. Yeah. Cute. Alright, those ones are pretty much dry. I'll grab some orange, pop it in. Whew, that's pretty vibrant, isn't it? Wow. Alright, now that one's pretty much almost dry. I'm going to do a really pale yellow. For the edges. I needed it to dry because purple and yellow are complementary colours, and if I let them mix, then it would just turn into a gross poo brown. Neutral colour. Again, I'm just tapping it in. Cool. Alright, getting some super strong yellow, not diluted as much, and then I'll just drop into the centre. Cute. Alright, I might just pop you guys into time-lapse while I go around and finish the base colours to all these other little flowers, and I'll meet you back at the end of that. Alrighty, that's that page all finished. Honestly, using Crayola Supertips like watercolours, so much fun. Thank you to all my new subscribers and of course my long-time one-twos. You're the reason why I get to keep making these cute little colouring videos. If you enjoyed hanging out with me today, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It really helps my channel more than you know. And if you've watched all the way to the end, pop a little wildflower in the comments so I know you're one of my end of video legends. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to catch up with you all in the next video. Bye!